Welcome to John's Tarot. Thank you very much. In the last week, who's listening to me? I've had listeners from Hong Kong, Australia, Germany, Canada, Mexico, United Kingdom, Singapore, Spain, Israel, India, Norway. What states in the United States? We had Georgia, Virginia, Florida, New York, Texas, Utah, Arizona, Indiana, Maine, North Carolina, Ohio. Wow, that kind of freaks me out.
Oh, far out, man.
So, sometimes I get a little frustrated that I think I'm not doing as well as I should. But when I look over that, people are listening to me, right? all over. So, okay, let's continue going. Sometimes I get frustrated too. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to continue. So we're going to continue on signs of spiritual awakening. I did all the early signs earlier, and I'm using Joseph Campbell's basic outline, where we have the call to adventure, crossing the threshold, and then today we're going to talk about the return. The return is on the hero's journey. If you know anything about Joseph Campbell, so you have had the call to adventure, you've had that call to change. You need to change. You need to change dynamically, and then you go on the hero's journey, crossing the threshold, and you do all the things that are necessary in order for you to change. And you have teachers and guides and programs and things that have books and things that help you. And this could happen to you within the church. This could happen to you in other organizations. But it's a very common motif in human life that this stuff happens. That's how Joseph Campbell picked it out. And then you've conquered your issues. Let's say like myself. I'm gonna have to use myself as an example. And then comes the return. This is one of Campbell's most important insights. The hero doesn't stay on the mountaintop. They come back. They bring something back, a gift, a lesson, a realization. In my framework, this is integration. So people like myself, and there's a lot of us out there, we go through a lot of pain, and we go through suffering. And that is part of our journey. And we bring something back. So you contact me and you say, John, I got this problem with this and that and that. We have a wellspring of experience to offer other people. All that suffering, all that growth, all that pain was not in vain. You're supposed to offer it to other people. Part of what I'm doing with the podcast is the return phase of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. So I've made the journey. I've been to the other side, like they would say in the Old West. I seen the elephant show, and I seen the elephant. Now I'm coming back. And that's what I'm doing with the podcast. That is, I'm trying to bring something back. I remember I've had some experiences, a little bit different experiences. I had an ayahuasca experience, for instance. And I was in South America. I was in the Peruvian Amazon. And it's a long story, but I was able to hook up with a ayahuasquero, a shaman. And I stayed with the shaman for a night. And he guided me through this experience. And what I brought back, I was kind of funny. I had an intention. Why certain things in my life were that way. And when I came back, I found out things I wasn't aware of. Things like how people view me at my place of work. I thought they were all kind of, indifferent to me. No, and actually, it's the opposite. Actually, these people hold me in very high esteem, which shocked me. No, but that's something I brought back. And I can show you the picture sometime. In the picture, we are in the ceremonial hut out there in the Peruvian Amazon. And there's a bunch of stuff happening all around you. And the jungle is right outside the door. And in the lower corner of the picture, I could put it up there for you sometime. I'll put it up there on my website. in the lower corner of the picture, there is a face. And there should be no face there. There is nobody there. It's a spirit. It's a spirit. And I brought back proof of spirit. And I wouldn't have believed it before. I had experiences with ghosts, but I was kind of, I don't know. But this was definite proof. There was something going on. This shaman had powers beyond my understanding, and I have a picture of a spirit. And I'll put it up on the webpage sometime. So I brought something back, and I'll share it with you. And there was other things I brought back from that experience as well. And I had some experiences all throughout my life. Every time I go through that process where I have make a transition, and I cross a threshold, and I do a map, and then I come back, I bring something forward, and I bring something back to people. Nursing school was that way. I was scared to death going to nursing school. It was like they're talking about titrating vasoactive drips. I'm like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. going through physiology, and I had no idea. And you know what? Know what happened during that period? I had a guy I teamed up with. He was a chemistry major, and he had a bachelor's in chemistry, and he was my guide. He taught me. He guided me. He got me through all that. I still had to do the work, but I knew I'd get through it. And that was one of those things where I can't explain it. I remember what else was going on. Nursing school, it was so difficult. I really had a limited academic experience, and people were dropping out, especially through physiology. And this girl behind me, she says, "Oh, have you had organic chemistry yet?" I said, "No, I haven't had organic chemistry yet." "Oh, you'll never make it. You'll never make it. I feel so sorry for you." Next week, she was gone. And what I brought back from that experience is a lot of times just courage and determination is enough. Courage and determination and willing to do the work is enough. And it will get you through many situations in life. And those are some of the things I've brought back from some of my experiences. And anyway, if you would like a reading with me sometime, I'd be glad to do a reading with you. Kind of what I do is a little different. I do, it's like, we'll take a look at the prevailing energies. I'm not going to predict the future. I don't do that. But we'll take a look at the prevailing energies. You might come to me like, well, in regards to my relationship, what can I expect? Or we could take a look at the prevailing energies. And what do I need to do and get a hold of improve my career? We could take a look at the prevailing energies within that career space. And it's kind of like a symbolic weather report is what I do. So anyway, my ability to read tarot is a gift, an expression of divine love. And of course, when we do it, if I do a reading with you, we will do it in such a fashion that you get a very clear understanding. I'll do 10 cards, Celtic Cross, and so you'll get a good understanding of where you stand, how the prevailing energies look in regards to your question. What question am I going to ask today? So the return. So somebody has has taken the hero's journey, and they've crossed the threshold, and they've made the transition, and now it's time to return. How should they? And when Campbell says it's a boon, you come back with a boon, something you present to the people of your tribe, of your community. How do we present our gifts back to our communities? You made the transition. You've done the deal. Let me move over to my tarot. You've made the transition. You had guides. How do we present what we have learned back to our community? How do we present what we have learned back to our community? How do we present what we have learned back to our community? I'm doing these short episodes. I'm doing like 3. I'll sit down and I'll do all 3. I'm still sick from my cold from earlier in the week. If I sound congested, it's because I am. Anyway, so how do we come back from the journey? How do we present this to our communities. And we're going to cut the deck and we'll see what we get. I'm just doing 3 cards here because it's quick and easy. I don't want to make it do long readings. Oh, how do we do it? So we have the 7 of Wands. The 7 of Wands. We've come back. We faced obstacles. We faced competition. We've pushed ourselves a little harder than normally in order to do what we have done, in order to make this transition, in order to cross the threshold. And many people have not been in favor of this. And you've had a lot of competition along the way. And you've had to work a little harder than normal. But you've had everything you needed in order to make this transition, in order to make this move into the next level of your life. And then the second card is, here we go again, the 5 of Swords. And then this time I'm going to say on the 5 of Swords, you know the truth now. You see the man with the green tunic and the swords on his shoulder holding one sword, that you know the truth. You may not be happy with the way other people are conducting their lives. You're a little wiser now than you were when you started this process. And other people are still operating the same way they've been operating in the past. And they may not exactly approve of, just because you've done this, they may not exactly hold you up to high esteem. They may, we like the old John. We like the way he was. I certainly had that problem in my life that I had family members and they didn't know what to do with me after I made a transition, after I changed. And they weren't too happy with it, really. You would think they would be happy. They weren't necessarily happy, but I knew the truth. And he's holding the swords up against his chest. I knew the truth, and I had to hold my truth close. And that, for me, that truth had to do with sobriety and honesty and integrity, and that I was becoming a better person, and irregardless of what anybody else thought. And the third card is the 5 of Cups. So you've come back. You made the transition. What's happening here now is that you're going to leave some parts of you behind. And I don't know, and there's going to be some loss, some grieving. Parts of your personality you're going to leave behind. You made this transition. Parts of things you used to do you're going to leave behind. Old friends you might leave behind. Old activities you might leave behind because you've made this transition. But you see, he's got 2 cups behind him. And what that means is, you got to look what you brought back. You got to look what you brought back. The things that you've brought back from your experience have a great deal of value. And these are the things you're going to share with other people. And in the card, you see a bridge over a river, and you'll be guided. You'll be guided. You'll be given guidance, and you'll see a castle back over here. You'll be guided with the 2 things that you've been given, and to a more happy state of being, a more happy life. So that is my week on awakening, on the awakening process. I hope you enjoyed the process.
The pain.
Oh, was it that bad? Because you're the kind of guy I am.
You are talking to a man who has laughed in the face of death, sneered at doom, and chuckled at catastrophe.
Join me next week when I do my next podcast, whatever that is. And be careful, be cool, be kind. And remember, have courage, find faith. And I'll talk to you again real soon. Okay, bye-bye.